And so we started just feeding the poor. And before long, we had thousands of people showing up, and we had a center, people dropping off. It grew into something that I was not really ready for necessarily, but I had an open heart and I wanted to help. And we started doing intakes and basically just questionnaires and talking to people about these things. And I had a spiritual proclivity towards asking questions about this stuff. But what started to happen was I started to notice, and at the time I didn't use this vocabulary, but these archetypal eruptions or these possession states in which people would be in a state where they would say things they couldn't have possibly known, or use different voices that it wasn't theirs, or go into these. I had one lady one time was just talking to me right in the middle of a conversation, was like, I can't stay here. And I was like, what's going on? She's like, the voices is telling me I have to leave. And I was like, well, do you want to leave? She's like, no, I want to stay. And as we continued, she started to have all of these different types of energies. And this, I mean, that's what ultimately led me to want to get a PhD in transpersonal psychology and to study this stuff, because of all the hundreds of experiences that I had. A lot of the people that would come through being in that disenfranchised state, maybe lacking a lot of the the fundamental childhood development and the framing of being able to understand those constraints of the boundaries of these energies, and having this weakened ego. You would see these things that just begin to flow through people, and they would just begin to kind of latch on, and then just, and it was so readily, like you would see it just sporadically.
Yeah, it's like
um
hooks. It's like hooks. They cling onto them. Yeah.
and they cling on to, and it's, yeah, because I think it's the unexamined life, when people don't know the parts of themselves, it creates these hooks, but it creates these burdened parts within. And I think that is the interesting thing with the burdens of a part, and what that opens up to as far as other energies that will attach to those things. Even, you know, with Richard Schwartz, kind of publicly starting to talk about these guides or these different energies that have been present in his whole IFS career. Like, he's talked about it. It's like these have always been here. I've always had these experiences with clients and people that I've worked with, but he's just now starting to kind of talk about this publicly. I think he wanted to get the main bulk of, like, the therapeutic process of what it can offer, making sure that wasn't pushed away unnecessarily. But I think now that it's kind of established in what it is, and all the other stuff that we've talked about in this podcast, I think there's enough stuff to kind of at least start to openly and honestly peel these conversations back in these spaces, because I think that this is what I'm talking about more specifically. It's like having a developed grammar with a lot of this, I think, is very important.